You make my bath time lots of
So much fun.
What is going on, everybody? Depraved Slasher here, and we are back with another musical. See, we sing songs in between.
Amongst other things.
And Rubber Ducky, as sung by Ernie from Sesame Street,
is the one.
Was the one.
He was the one
that we were singing. It's Halloween. I'm Depraved.
I'm Hellcat.
And together we are
HellaDepraved.
Yes, and a little loopy.
Yes, guys. Still recovering. Almost there. But we're catching up. And
we got to pull from this guy's
we're
face.
We're still having fun. It seriously, it looks like it reminds me of the Her song. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out.
You gotta mix them up so you don't have any idea.
Yeah, because there's like 5 left. Just mix them. I think they're all mine too.
I swear to God, the song I want will not be gotten to until Halloween because that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I wanted to listen to it all season and haven't, other than when it came on earlier on her playlist.
Because we haven't put it on the Spotify one yet because we haven't reacted to it. What we got?
You'll be excited for this, though.
I kind of already am.
This is the last song from her, I believe.
Ooh. Is this Karliene?
Yep.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay. Backstory on this. First of all, if you haven't listened to Karliene, what's wrong with you? We reacted to like 4 of her songs straight at the beginning of this month because they all came out consecutively. But she writes original music based on movies, TV shows, books, events. It's fan fiction, but original. And it's amazing. On this one, the Blood Countess was
Cold War. Never mind, I don't care.
Erzsébet Bathory, who Elizabeth Bathory is the
American name.
Anglicized name. But she was the
Blood Countess.
15th, 16th century
Girl credits.
Countess. And it is said that she bathed in the blood of 650 young women.
There's not an actual count anywhere.
There was. There's a book that she wrote.
I have.
It's debatable.
There's a book she wrote, but again, I've also seen people admit to murders they didn't actually
commit. It's a debatable subject, but she was a countess, and she had the king's nuts in a vice because he owed her so much money that when she got reported for abusing young women and using their blood as basically an anti-aging serum,
which did not work.
Yeah, obviously. She got in trouble and got bricked up in her tower, and all of her servants were killed. They died. And he took all her assets, which honestly, when you think about it that way, it kind of, you're not sure if she really was as...
I'm assuming she died of starvation.
No, I mean, they fed her through a slot, but, like, she only lasted, I think, like 4 years after. But it would have been cold and drafty, and, I mean, we're talking about old, like, castle, up in an area that snowed, and... But, I mean, all of the stories about her, she had a seizure disorder that caused a lot of violent, aggressive episodes. She had a very violent husband who was actually the Black Knight. He was known in wartime, but apparently taught her torture techniques. She used it on the girls, and she thought that their blood reversed signs of aging or stayed them, whatever. So the stories go that she ended up starting to slaughter them and bathed in them, and then it's when she moved on to aristocratic daughters that she finally got reported, because they didn't really care about the serfs that she basically owned anyway. So
there have also been an amazingly fun movie loosely based around her called Stay Alive.
Right.
It's actually based on like a video game. It's weird.
Right. Well, there's
like that. It's loosely based.
There's a lot of culture references to her.
And depending on which book you've read, if you have read any, she's killed anywhere between 6 and like 900 people.
Right. The number is normally 650, just because that is what is written down in her, like, historical records. Also, she was a countess, and she was from the area, but Bram Stoker kind of mixed. She was related to Vlad Tepes, who is who everyone thinks that he based his character Dracula off of. But a lot of the stuff that he made a vampire be relates to her more closely than the actual living Vlad Tepes. Right. So it's kind of a mix of which one influenced him more. She lived about, I think, a century before. But yeah, so there you have it. And this is an amazing fanfic song about her that is spooky. But I really like it because it comes from two sides. It comes from Ursabet's side, where she's like, I was rich and I got slandered. But then it also goes into a bit about what was said about her, like the legends. So it's like two different perspectives, and I respect that.
Okay. All right, guys. With that being said, there's a lot said.
Ursabet was a really interesting woman, and that is one of the first discussions we ever had anyway. I
Also
sent you
true.
my paper on my psychological profile of her.
Yep. We're going to react to this as if you guys have already seen it. If you have not seen it, please click the link in the description below. Hop on over, watch the video, leave a like, leave a sub, comment, let them know we sent you, and then come on back. And we say that because we're going to pause to talk. That's right. Aside from the 7-minute intro you just got, we're also going to get more talking, because it's what we do.
I wrote a 12-page thesis on this lady, people. It is what it is.
Right. Somebody will inevitably ignore the warning.
Whatever.
I'm sure there's been a bunch of people already fast forward through to the song.
Right.
But we're just warning you. There will be pauses.
Right.
Bitch about it at your own risk.
Yeah. We're ready to roast.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to slash this up and break this down. This is Karliene with
Blood Countess.
Blood Countess. Let's get it. Get it. Get it. Get it.
Allow me to introduce myself, though I fear you've heard my name.
This is also a review. I have heard this.
Right.
Like, heard it.
Yeah.
This is one of the first songs she ever sent me to just listen to.
Yeah. And again,
On my
it's
own
because it was one of our first discussions, and he said that he'd like to read my thesis paper, and I sent it, and it's kind of how our relationship developed. So
Now we lick each other for fun.
it is what it is. Keeps us young.
Yes. Blood doesn't. Saliva, people.
That you've heard the story of Countess Bathory. History is told by the victors, heroic warriors, and mad kings. Will you
I love that saying.
History is told by the victors. Mad warriors, or mad kings. Heroic warriors, mad kings.
I've often wondered how much of our history is false.
A lot.
Because, like, we're taught by what was written down by the people who won.
Right.
Like,
Or who have won long enough to write the books. Yeah.
I don't know. It's again, and not just with stuff like this, but I'm talking about like wars.
Everything.
And
Everything.
yeah, oh man.
Yeah. Because again, a lot of it, think about original texts were going to be written from whatever religion or cultural point of view was also prevalent, and whoever the person was actually writing it believed in. Like, there's so much bias in human nature that, like, how can we really trust any events?
Right.
Yeah.
You hear my story from the lips of Bathory. They call me Let's demon, queen of hell.
again, as she said, history is recorded by the victor.
Right. Right.
What if, and bear with me here, what if her blood obsession was more paganly ritualistic?
It's possible. Honestly, so from what I learned of her, she went through a shit ton. She also did have the seizure disorder, which did lead to aggression. But the way that she was raised at the time, so she was privileged. She did have money. But it was a much more brutal time. And the way of punishment was much more brutal. So
Right.
she was taught this kind of stuff. Like, you know, when she was a kid, she saw a guy sewn up into a horse's gut for his discretion, his problems, and just rot inside of a horse. That was normal. That was punishment back then. And so, I mean, that, and then, you know, she marries this guy that is a warrior, super young, and he's always off at war, but when he comes home, he brings her, like, instruments that he's used to torture people, and, like, you know, the serfs belonged to them. The servants belonged to them. They were property. That's how they were viewed. And, you know, it was just, I don't know. She was incredibly smart. Like, knew 5 different languages. She was really good with the money. Like, so this was a empowered woman in a time that women should not have owned that much property, that much money, had that much control. And like I said, the king ended up owing her a crap ton.
Right.
So a lot of the slander, like, it's one of those things, like, she could have been extremely vicious towards her servants, but that wouldn't have been abnormal in the time.
Right.
And it could have just been slander so that he could take her, or not owe her, and take her assets, you know?
Right.
You don't know.
True.
And that's kind of sad, but, I mean, the myths are kind of fun, too.
The blood countess. Who is she really? Who is she really? Blood countess. Who is she really? Je blood bathory.
Is that a guitar or mandolin?
I think it's mandolin and the harpsichord.
It's beautiful.
Which, yeah, and it's also much more authentic to the time period.
Right.
And what ladies back then would have learned to play.
Right.
I also really like that she's singing Elizabeth Bathory versus Elizabeth Bathory. Because, again, it's honestly true to who she actually was versus this kind of myth
the parsnickety shit I gotta deal with
that he fell in love with.
on her, specifically. She's not this way with hardly anyone else.
I didn't study my ass off on this lady for nothing, okay? Alright?
I'm just fucking with you guys. I mean, there's some truth to it. But
Right, well, yeah, obviously, y'all see my OCD. I'm like, look, she could have just been a really respectable woman, okay, y'all? No, I do think she had her psychopathic tendencies, for sure. I just, you know.
I do like that about her. She's passionate about her blood countess.
I was very wealthy and powerful, a widow with political rivals keen to destroy me and take my property. My plea offered, all my confessors were all tortured, or how they destroyed me for my property. They put me up, shut me up, shut me up, put me up, put me up, shut me up, and told a story of a bitch called Bathory. That sucking demon.
That bitch called Bathory.
Bitch!
But I like they put me up, brick me up, shut me up. Because, like I said, she was bricked in her room. Yeah. And that effectively locked her away from absolutely everyone shutting her up.
That's why she died in 4 years. She couldn't stay young.
Well, yeah, it's like they were all, it's magic. She shriveled. She got white and gold hair. You know, it was like, I don't know, like the witch of Snow White, you know, all of a sudden just change. No blood. What can you say? They probably fed her taters.
How the fuck she die? I could live off taters.
I could too, but she liked blood. Just saying.
She could have cut herself.
She could have. Maybe she did. She was recycling.
Exactly.
Queen of hell, sadistic killer, a monster tale, bathing in the blood of virgins, to keep me beautiful, drinking the blood of virgins, to keep me youthful, the blood countess. Who is she really? Who is she really? Blood countess. Who is she really? Elizabeth Bathory.
I just love how she made it really spooky. Right? And she found that's an amazing picture for this too.
I'm pretty sure that's her.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say amazing photographer, but
Now, in terms of all the Karliene songs that we've listened to, I still think which is my favorite.
I'm gonna have to agree. I think there's one other that is my favorite of hers, and I'm trying to remember if we've covered it or not.
I don't know.
But which
I
is
do
amazing.
really like this, but the difference is, like, especially even now, being somewhat drowsy, that song didn't help.
Right? No, I know.
Because it is very calming.
It's mellow.
And at least with Witch, it's very in your face.
Right. They're jumping around a bonfire. This is more the spooky. We're sitting around the bonfire telling spooky stories. Yeah. But I agree with you. Like, I'm a little drowsy now, but I love this song. And again, it makes me think of just like you're sitting around telling spooky stories with candles and stuff. What?
Can I have the mask?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
I was beginning to think my song wasn't in the mask. Like you
thought
were
I didn't. Oh.
hiding it from me.
You see this?
Guys.
This is the persnickety-ness that I He has been dying to react to Thriller this entire time. And it is not me that's not putting out.
No, it's me not pulling out. There's your double for the day,
There
ladies.
you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gents.
All right.
But no, this was an absolutely enjoyable song. I do like it.
Right.
Again, her and I's very first ever conversation was what started off as probably just both of us thinking we only had about 15-20 minutes to kick, and it turned into like a 5-6 hour conversation on, I think it started off with
It was horror movies, I think, at first.
horror movies,
Right.
and then I had brought up, I think, Stay Alive,
I think so.
and I started talking about Elizabeth Bathory. I'm sorry, Erzsébet is a dumbass fucking name.
It's Hungarian.
I'm not hungry enough for that shit.
You could at least say Bathory.
Bathory.
Pronounce it correctly.
Balthry.
It's the wrong emphasis. A wrong syllable. Anyways, it turned into a conversation about psychological profiling,
Right.
serial killers, not just her, but just in general, and the interest, and so on and so forth. And then I told him that I had written a thesis paper, which is it's a forensic psychological profile of her, and would he like to read it? And he did, and here we are today, ladies and gentlemen. I think we talked for a couple, like maybe a month
Killing
straight
you
without.
softly with our paws. Killing you softly.
But I think we had talked for at least a month solid before we even knew what each other looked like.
Right.
Because that was Discord, so we didn't get on Zoom or anything like that.
I think we both found ourselves hoping the other was online to talk to whenever we would jump on.
Definitely. It wasn't a think. I was like, is Depraved on? It's a thing. Also sending each other messages of just really fucked up memes while we were in voice chat with other people to see if we could get the other person to break during a discussion, like just bust out laughing when it had no relevance to what was being discussed.
And they were all dark humor. Like, I'm not going to even repeat them here.
We won't.
We thought they were funny.
They were funny. We didn't just think they were funny. They are funny. It's what it is, guys. Anyway.
If you guys liked the video, slash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Comment down below, what did you think of Karliene's Blood Countess? Also comment down below if there's anything else that you guys want to see reacted to. Check the description below for all the things.
Push our buttons. Come join us on our other social media platforms, mostly Twitter if you want to chat, and that's also a great place to leave requests.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. We cannot wait to see depraved people later. Bye-bye.
Bye.